Good morning, Jew.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine.
I'm Katie Halper in New York City.
I'm Heather Gold in Oakland. What's wrong, Katie?
It's cold. It's really cold.
It's winter, isn't it for you?
Yeah, it is winter. I think it's winter for you guys, too. We're on the same schedule, right?
Well, it's not cold enough to be frozen, so it can't be that cold.
That's true. Very scientific of you. Very good.
I grew up in Canada. Like, cold is when it's icy.
Right.
Ooh, I can hear the wind. The wind whistling, though. Well, welcome to Morning Jew and our exciting. We're an audio podcast. This is our first all the way through episode.
Right. You should share as much minutia about our
physical appearance.
No, about our schedule. This is the first episode in which we are recording a straight through, blah, 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 with no interruptions. In other episodes that you may have heard, we start with a recording that has been aforementioned, recorded, ex post facto, in which we post-record
But sometimes I stop, I order some food, I have to go get that. I have to crumple a napkin.
Crumple a napkin or two. No, this is from actually a deli. If you guys could see, if you could read my mind, if you could see, you would see that there's actually no logo whatsoever on it. It's just a plastic vessel where they put fountain soda. That's me banging the ice with the straw.
That's horrible. We're kind of back from our Morning Jew retreat of tech adjustment this month. So here we are.
Morning Jew hiatus.
I'm glad to see you. Like, did you miss me? This is the Jewish greeting.
Heather, of course. I mean, I missed you. It wasn't the same. My compass was off. I didn't know what was up, what was down.
It's more time for boys.
Yeah, Heather's new thing is I'm boy crazy. It's easier to be boy crazy when you're not living with your girlfriend. Am I right?
Were you ever living with a girlfriend?
Sorry. It's easier to be crazy, insert the gender that you're attracted to, when you're not living with the person you're involved with.
You're saying you think, is that your way of implying you think I'm a girl crazy if I wasn't living with my girlfriend?
Yes.
I don't know. I was definitely when I was like in my journeys that my new show's about. My divorce closed. I just got the order last night.
I'm clapping. That's me.
I just got the paper.
I wish I had a honk thing.
I just got my Long Island certified. You are divorced from the judge. No, it's
actually Long Island.
Long Island.
Yeah, very good. You carry the G.
I'm a Long Island divorcee now.
That's awesome. Best place to get a divorce from.
No, horrible, you guys. No. I mean, you'll hear about it in the show. I don't recommend it. Don't go to Long Island. Seriously.
No, but it's great. I mean, you don't want to be linked to that place, so it's a very liberating thing.
I'm thrilled. So yeah, I was a little girl crazy for a while, for sure.
Like young girl crazy too. I mean, I don't want to say anything to get you in legal trouble, especially because you're a jurist. But
I didn't do anything illegal, but I surprised myself.
Right.
I would say that.
Well, let me just say this. I surprised myself. We'll leave it at that.
I did. I had a fling with a 20-year-old.
And you were how old at the time?
God, 44?
Oh, my God. My biggest spread.
You know what? We mock the thing we are to be. I spent so many years making fun of Michael Douglas and Woody Allen, and God knows how many. At that point, I wasn't aware of, Woody Allen is a rapist only, is just a gross stepfriend, child marrier or whatever. Yeah. And then, of course, I no relationship, thankfully, with anyone that young, but I did have one fling.
My biggest
I got the experience of being a touring performer with people hitting on me. It was my first experience where I was single. I mean, do you get hit on when you're performing?
I got hit on by a Mexican Nazi this week.
You were hit on by a Nazi?
Yeah, but I just want to say that my biggest spread, she accuses me of being boy crazy. My biggest spread when I was 28. This was a fling. I was 28 and he was 21. That's it.
Well, it's mostly, I'm used to being the younger woman.
Right.
So Nazi, why would a Nazi hit on you?
Because he didn't know that I was a Jewess. He was a Mexican chef at this restaurant, and he was very nice. He kept coming out and checking on everything, and we were talking. Somehow Germany came up. I made some joke about Germany, and he said, well, the only group of people whose numbers don't check out in terms of dying in the Holocaust. And I was like, the Jews? He's like, yep. And his claim is that there were fewer Jews living in Europe at that time than the number killed. I have a feeling he probably confused Germany with Europe, so he probably got the population of Germany. But I told him, he's Mexican, and I told him, I'm like, you get that you would have been taken out before I would have been.
I think there's a lot of people out there with their idealized theories about how it's invented and nothing happened.
And it's also really annoying that, like, the Hitler being a genius thing, because I had actually just taught a history class where I talked about this with my students. That's such a cliche. He wasn't brilliant. Like, Goebbels was brilliant. Hitler wasn't stupid, but he wasn't a mad genius either. People love saying that about him, and it's just a lazy thing.
I've never heard that. How are you hearing people saying he was a genius?
Yeah, people do it. They think it's very, people, it's like they think they're being clever when they're holding two things in their hands, like evil and genius. Like, yeah, we've encountered that before.
People like to think they're brave. It's like Andrew Sullivan is now obsessed with how brave he is because he's willing to say that feminists are oppressive. Like, look at me calling out people do this when they're really not willing to ever stand up to any of these people. They just think it's nice at a dinner party to
dinner party
bring them up. Oh, look at me, I'm tough. So he couldn't even grow a complete mustache. I don't know what's
I know
about that guy.
He couldn't even develop a theory and aesthetic that worked with him. Like, he developed something based on an aesthetic that he didn't even have. He wasn't blonde hair, blue eyed. Really, that's the intelligent thing to do. Make an aesthetic that you don't even fulfill. Anyway,
what's kind of amazing is getting an entire country to go along with it. But it makes sense. It's no different.
Goebbels, that was all Goebbels. I'm like a big Goebbels defender, clearly. Goebbels apologist. I have a crush on Goebbels. But Goebbels was the propaganda master. Plus, he had Leni Riefenstahl doing great stuff.
It's a skill to bring in the talent, to manage the talent.
It is. He's a good wrangler. Hitler was a great wrangler. A curator, if you will.
Kind of like Reagan.
Yeah, also not very smart, Reagan.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It's like, only in the sense that it's like, I've got a team.
Right.
I don't have to do a whole lot.
Right.
I can say something here or there. I can sit in a horse. Okay, so what happened after the guy was like, yeah, Jews are making up?
I don't remember. I was just like, yeah, you would have been, like, sorry, you look more, like, less Aryan than I do, so I just want you to know it's fine that you say that about him, but it's if I was like, I'm glad that Hitler isn't alive to hear you defending him, because that would make him very uncomfortable. He would not want you on his team.
He wouldn't want to make him uncomfortable.
No.
Did he slip you his number?
No. At that point, so then the owner of the bar I was at was like, how do you like my handsome chef? And I was like, very nice. A Nazi, but very nice. So I had some people hitting on me, actually. That another person asked me if I'd ever consider doing a kissing booth, because I'd be great at it.
Ooh, that's an interesting.
Don't know what that means, though.
Line. It means they think you'd be good at kissing people you don't know.
Right.
For hours at a time.
Too much herpes.
So as you can tell, and if you've been following Morning Jew for all you'll know, we're Yenting Katie. And so she's back in the Yenta market, so send us your prospects. We'll take a look.
Yes, I'm single again. Unbelievably. I mean, I've been single I've been single for a while, and I'm still riding the camel.
What does that mean, the camel?
I don't know. It means instead of the horse, get back on the horse. I'm back on the camel.
You're back on the camel? All right, so we'll find you somebody who's not a Nazi.
A yenta, by the way, is a gossip, and a shidduch is the hookup that we're trying to do.
But yenta someone is to find them a match.
Can also, yes. Many words in Yiddish are both nouns and verbs. It's interesting.
It's awesome. Well,
like schlep. I don't want to schlep it, or it's a schlep.
Or I have a lot of schlep. It's a thing.
What's that? I have a lot of schlep.
You don't know
that? I've never heard. Jeez. I have a lot of schlep. What is that? Like swagger?
Like if you're Jewish a macher, you have a lot of schlep.
Wait. Machers are big shots, right?
That's right.
But schlep is, what does that mean?
They have a lot of schlep, a lot of juice, a lot of power, a lot of,
Never knew that.
hustle, a lot of...
Even though it means long, arduous journey?
Schlep is pull. It's like he has pull.
I didn't know that.
Get you what you need. Oh, I can get you a deal on that coat. Why? I've got some schlep.
I had no idea.
I got some pull.
A new thing. So now it's all two different kinds of nouns. Anyway, so what should we start talking about today?
Or you can be a schlep, which is like at the bottom of the totem pole.
Now I don't even believe it. I think Heather's just going to be like, do you want a glass of schlep? Works that way. How many schleps do you? How many schleps do you have? That means how old are you?
It's
5 schleps ago, I was a mess.
It's like the word fuck. You can use it in an amazing number of ways. Schlep is a great one. Shop is a great one. So yeah, we need to. We'll find you someone. So no Nazi for you. It was a bit of a turnoff.
It was a bit of a turnoff. Forbidden fruit thing. It only works so much. I did have a flirtation with a really conservative Southerner at my college, but that's about as close. Nothing happened with that. But
Dated a Republican president of a fraternity who was the captain of the wrestling team. I did.
When?
I did. I think
at
did
Yale?
I sleep with him? I might have.
At Yale?
Yes. When I was trying to be, heterosexual. Well, if you think about it,
this is really the most heterosexual you can get. Yeah.
I was trying to prove my open-mindedness to myself. I mean, if you think about it, if you're already not connected enough to your sexuality that you're busy trying to do what you think the world tells you should, it's a good idea, then it tends to put
Might as well go the whole.
Then it tends to put other dumb things up for grabs, like, oh, why not? I mean, he was, I guess, a good-looking guy for a guy, but you're
like, yeah, apartheid isn't that unappealing. I guess he has a point. Apartheid has its merits.
I really had this incredible, I mean, this is what worked for me with men. I don't know if you can do it because it helps to be lesbian. I really didn't care, and they love that.
Right.
I don't find male attention to be special, even though the whole culture is based on male attention being the best kind of attention anyone could ever have.
And what you just said is not true of all lesbians. Just to clarify, people may not know this. Right?
It's not true for all lesbians.
There are lesbians who really care about male attention, even if they're not interested in men.
No, I would disagree.
Really?
I don't think that. I mean, I have a lot of male friends. I don't think I think most lesbians would not prioritize male attention. No.
I think I have lesbian friends who really like any sexual attention. I mean, not because I have straight friends who really like attention from lesbians too. It's not.
I'm not talking about even sexual attention. I'm just talking about that living in a culture where a guy listening to you is the equivalent of authority because guys have authority and they're listening to you.
But you're saying that all lesbians are free of that.
Or no, maybe it's shifted with the whole trans boom and trans gender boom. Stuff.
The trans industry.
No, I mean it's a movie. Actually, it's a short film in the series that I helped out a little bit with that this guy and Tiffany Schley made. It's in The Future Starts Here. Is one of the episodes. It's called Trans Boom. Or no, maybe it's not, but that's the phrase that Sawyer's used to refer to sort of this period of time where many people transitioned and kind of came out in the Bay Area, and particularly here. But he's saying he thinks because the web really enabled people to try gender shifting much more easily.
Interesting. Okay, so let's talk about our stories.
You want to talk about Mark Wahlberg?
Yes,
next.
Mark Wahlberg. So I hate Mark Wahlberg. I love his work, his oeuvre. Yeah, you're going to hear why I hate him.
It was Donnie Wahlberg's little brother. I mean, he was...
Oh, because he was New Kids on the Block.
He was famous second. His brother was famous before
I'm looking up their ages.
Right?
Let's see. I'm looking up their ages right now.
That's my memory.
Donnie Wahlberg was born in 1969. Can you hold on to that number? 60. Mark Wahlberg was born in 71. So, yes, he was 2 years younger.
So my memory of this, not that I was that interested in New Kids. Is that what it was? New Kids on the Block? Because, of course, I wasn't interested in boys. But I remember they were pretty well known. His brother was one of that group. And then...
The Right Stuff.
Oh, boy.
There you go.
I'm a failure of my generation. I don't know that song.
You're a great lesbian.
And then they had, I could tell you Suzanne Vega songs around the same time. So... So was his
bilingual.
Was his brother well known first as a model or first?
He was a model,
or first as the musical.
Well, he had a hit called "Good Vibrations."
Marky
That
Mark
was part of Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Was that before modeling? Before his crotch?
I don't know. I think they maybe were like at the same time.
It was really cool to me as a young queer person about Mark Wahlberg. He was completely sexualized. It was just like a giant penis in Times Square and a giant Calvin Klein ad. And it was I'd never seen a straight guy in the public eye. I mean, maybe it had happened before my time I wasn't aware of. Become well known, especially as a young person, because he was sexualized. This is something that only happens.
You're like, I was so excited to see that a young person was sexualized who was male, not female.
It was so different. I mean, if you think about how Mark Wahlberg and his giant probably not circumcised penis. Hello,
no, it probably is. I think it's not a religion thing. Well, I don't think I think he is circumcised. Mark, if you're listening, we know you probably are, or Donnie, because Donnie is a big fan of the show. Call in, tell us about your schlong, whether it's circumcised.
Why are you assuming?
I'm mad at him because, okay, so then he starts an acting career. One of my favorite movies is Fear. Great movie with Reese Witherspoon. Mark wants a pardon for a hate crime, basically, that he committed, that he won't acknowledge as a hate crime. I mean, in fairness, he was 16. Drunk, I think. He saw a Vietnamese man, called him a fucking Vietnam fuck or something. He did not use the adjectival form. He just used the country name, which is interesting.
It's a kind of odd. It's an odd way to be racist.
It's like it's a weird way. To his credit, I guess he wasn't that well versed in slurs, but you usually use an adjective, not the country name.
There's usually something more of an epithet in there.
Well, he did say to be fair, he did call him a slanted-eyed gook and a gook.
He did?
Yeah, of course. Wait, Heather, you don't even know what he did. Ready? Wait for it.
You just told me.
He took a wooden stick that was approximately 5 foot long and 2 to 3 inches wide and broke it over this guy's head and knocked him unconscious. And that same night, he attacked another Vietnamese guy. And actually, he fled the police after the first incident. And then he went and hid behind the other Vietnamese guy's car. And then when the cops left, having not found him, he attacked the other Vietnamese guy, punched him in the face. He also was written up for attacking black school children. There were some white school children in the group, but he did use the N-word.
How? Yeah, it's shocking. How did he build a career after this having had happened? How did we never know about this till now?
I don't know. And he wants a pardon because clearly his life has been so marred by this. I mean, the guy can't get a job in Hollywood. The guy can't get a job in singing. And he may actually want to work with law enforcement, he's saying, which is, of course, ridiculous because if that's true, I mean, what better qualification than having committed a hate crime against people of color? That's like a shoo-in if you be in the NYPD or LAPD. He won't acknowledge it as racist. He says it was just that he was intoxicated. And he's dedicated his life to good causes, blah, blah, blah. He hasn't even apologized to the people who he attacked. You would think that would be the first step.
Did he get... prosecuted?
He served 45 days.
He didn't have to go to jail.
He did for 45 days instead of 2 years.
I just need a moment to take in this news about this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Is it shocking that some dude from Boston was racist and beat somebody up? Right. I guess not, but
that we don't know about it.
I'm shocked that they've done that good a job in PR that nobody ever writing about this guy. No paparazzi, nobody ever went and looked this up. Like, I don't know, if I were working for BuzzFeed or whatever, some of these places
TMZ,
don't they just go through the records of every last...
I would think so.
Although they probably have these negotiations, because one of the things that stunned me most in the whole Cosby debacle, he went to the Inquirer, had a lot of stuff. They were about to run a story, and he gave them a story about his daughter's drug addiction to get them off the case.
Oh.
And I've read about TMZ, and I do know they do this. They do this sort of, we have the stuff in the bank, we have the stuff in the vault. That's why we're going to keep getting access to you because you don't want us to release this story. So maybe someone's had it, but...
He was charged with attempted murder, pleaded guilty to assault, and was sentenced to 2 years in Suffolk County, Deer Island. But then he just served 45 days. I mean, really? Really? Dude, you got a slap on the wrist, and you have an entire restaurant franchise. He also has a restaurant franchise called, Wahlburgers. I'm not kidding. Wahlburgers.
That was really hard to come up with.
He's upset he can't get a concession license. It interferes with Wahlburgers.
Interesting.
But you know what? Why doesn't he admit that it wasn't just drunkenness, that he was racist, and then maybe we can talk. And he says, I know, very brilliant. I did a lot of things that I regret, and I certainly have paid for my mistakes. You had to go and ask for forgiveness. And it wasn't until I really started doing good and doing right by other people, as well as myself, that I really started to feel that guilt go away. So I don't have a problem going to sleep at night. I feel good when I wake up in the morning. Wow, he's really processed it.
But at the same time, to some degree, isn't that what people sell when they sell this guy? They sell the whole fantasy.
The bad boy?
Yeah, they're selling the fantasy of this guy's a thug, he's tough.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
I
mean, I just think it's absurd that he hasn't actually apologized.
He's a sexy racist.
Yeah, I think he's as dumb as he seems.
Well,
there is some pushback saying he shouldn't be pardoned. I mean, the irony is that this guy is who we want clemency from the criminal justice system for. Really? We already got white cops not being indicted about killing black people. Then we want a white billionaire, entrepreneur, actor, singer, songwriter to, it's really funny to think of him as a singer, songwriter. But he's the people that we want, like, our criminal justice system to be nicer to. I think he's doing okay. How about we, like, release people who are on life without parole for nonviolent crime?
He should have to do something for the Vietnamese community. And he should have to apologize to that guy.
Yeah, big time, both of them.
The thing is I don't know how much an apology is useful if someone has to do it. When someone says you have to apologize, exactly. I mean, I don't know how much that means to anybody.
Of course, right.
I guess, I mean...
But it's just funny that he didn't even do the PR work, didn't even think of the PR move. Like, here's the right order. Acknowledge that there was racism in it. Ask for forgiveness. Apologize. Don't just say that you forgave yourself and now can wake up in the morning. So
well,
obnoxious.
You know what? You know why he thinks that? Because he saw Eat, Pray, Love.
Yeah, he did.
And she lets you know you can have your own fantasized forgiveness if you
and
just
Donald
meditate
Sterling
on it.
Too.
So is this good for the Jews? I think this has to be bad for the Jews. I guess if his life gets easier, it becomes a little easier for like 5 Jews who put him in movies.
We don't think that way,
For
Heather.
Jews overall, I'd say no. We're much more likely to be the person getting bashed.
I like the way he says he's going to inspire people to prove that their lives can come out right. So, like, people who are troubled to commit a hate crime are going to be like, you know what? I was going to commit this hate crime, but then I thought about how Mark Wahlberg's life really turned around. So maybe it's worth not hitting them. That's basically what his narrative is. I
just think it's even more screwy to say, I'm going to inspire people if you give me this thing, and then I'll be inspired.
If you let me off the hook, if you show that there will be no accountability for being a racist,
if you let
and
me,
any other people who are racist will be able to flourish.
He wants to be an honorable police officer or some craziness. What is that part of the story?
Like a reservist. He wants to you can't even do certain volunteer things with them.
Isn't he 40? What could he possibly do at that age?
He's a fit guy. I'm sure he could do a lot of things.
Was he trying to...
His appeal, he mentions that he wants to do stuff with police.
It's a business thing. They found... So basically, he went for a legal process, and the state of Massachusetts said, hey, we checked and you're a felon, so we can't give you this.
Right.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though. If we want generally to have a system that is generally forgiving of felonies, because God knows the people are the most harmed by felony convictions in this country, by not being able to vote. I mean, does that mean Wahlberg can't vote? I guess it means he can't vote.
Maybe not. But I don't think that this guy is the face of disenfranchised people.
No, it isn't. I mean, I think what I would rather see is if you're going to change the rule, maybe it affects him too, but you change it across the board.
Yeah, he's not asking for it to be decriminalized or anything. He's just saying he just wants a pardon. It's not a policy thing. It's like a one-off, just this person thing.
So he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be able to vote.
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't want to be able to vote. Let's say no. I don't see anything with that.
Does it end his conviction?
End it, but what do you mean end it?
Meaning, I mean, isn't the reason people can't vote, for example, or hold public office, is because they have a felony conviction, and if you remove that conviction, if you expunge it.
I don't know. I think it varies by state also, but I don't know what it is in Massachusetts.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I would say this is him and this process are good for maybe his lawyer. If his lawyer's not Irish, probably is. If he's Jewish, or he's got a business partner who's Jewish, or he's got but that's only going to be a handful of people. So
I mean, just man up. He's so butch. Just butch up and say, yeah, I did that because I was a dumb racist. Not I was intoxicated and happened to run into 2 Vietnamese people in a row and happened to drop racial slurs.
Here's the thing to me. I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence about hate crimes as a thing because, you punch somebody or hit somebody, you punch them or hit them. But I do think in terms of social feeling and how people are in the social square, he's been racist. He's done something incredibly racist and hurtful and violent. Right. And so he can't just get pardoned from the general public around that. You don't need a criminal conviction for the now we've all been informed in a weird way. You know what's weird? Okay, I found a way. Here's how it's good for the Jews. I'm always working on this. It's good for the Jews because Mark Wahlberg on his own
is not a Jew.
No, I have another way. That's your take.
You realize that, just to clarify, I realize this is like a public health threat, Heather. There are going to be people who don't realize that the last name Wahlberg is German. They're going to think he's Jewish, like people think Zimmerman's Jewish. And I just want to
take one look at that guy who's been sold as a thug, and no one's going to think that guy's Jewish.
Stop for a second, right? Okay.
They're not going to be like, oh, I'm so afraid with this butch guy is with all his muscles and his six-pack and his, underwear ad is a giant. Yeah, I don't think so. I think here's how it's good for the Jews. Mark Wahlberg, because of his own desire, I guess, to have this business thing, went out and asked for this. So he's put this out into the public. He's let us all know that he did this racist thing.
Right.
We wouldn't have known. We would have had no idea. He just decided to inadvertently, which is part of his own, I guess, dumbness.
Here's what it says. It says the vast majority, I'm reading an LA Times article, the vast majority of felonies are punishable by fines and a limited number of years behind bars. Yet felonies carry additional sanctions that never expire. In some states, felons lose the ability to vote. In others, they can't obtain professional licenses or certain coveted business permits. In Wahlberg's case, that meant that the potential inability to obtain a liquor license in some states for his family's restaurant chain, Wahlburgers.
Oh, do you think that's probably what the rest of his family's doing, is running Wahlburgers?
Yeah.
Well,
but apparently he did say something about working with the police.
I would consider something generally that let felons still make a living, but not just him.
Yeah, I think, how about prioritizing voting rights for them?
Or how about prioritizing all the many, many other felons who can't make a living, most of whom are people of color?
Right. I mean, this is so not about that.
So, but it is good for the Jews in the sense that he put us all on notice that he's racist. Who knew?
But why is that good for us? So we'll know at a dinner party?
We know who you can do business with, you're dealing with.
I see.
Look, I mean, anytime somebody who's likely to beat someone up on the street is identified, it's a little safer for us too.
Right.
Jews have plenty of problems. Beating the shit out of people on the street is not one of them.
Every now and then it comes up, with Palestinians. But yes, in the
United States,
I would agree.
In the United States, being beaten up in the street happens to us more than us. We're not big. Yes. Let's go ahead and beat people up. So that's what I would say. It's a long time since 1930, and there were 12 Jewish boxers. So, yeah. And
then of course that film *Inglourious Basterds* was a film and not a documentary.
Made by a Gentile, absolutely.
Of course.
Okay, so our next story is the wonderful Laura Swisher, who sends us these great things. This is just the latest, and we need to come up with a name for this trend. This woman went to Walgreens in Northridge, California, and found some wrapping paper, which you could theoretically be picking for Hanukkah because it was the Walgreens paper that had silver and blue in it. So it's pretty traditional that that's the one you're going to pick. And it had swastikas in it. Which just apparently nobody
screams swastika,
and it's promoted and put out there by Hallmark, which somehow managed to escape them. So
unlike the Jews and the Nazis,
they tried to get it removed. So we don't know if Hallmark's pulled it yet. It seems like that Walgreens has pulled it, but we've covered a couple of other stories in the last year, including.
Is Walgreens Jewish, by the way? Is that like a Jewish family name?
I don't know. I mean. I don't think so.
Walgreens. We got to look this up.
I don't think so. I'm going to go with no. We're looking. Are you looking?
Wait.
What?
Wait for it. Hold on.
You were holding, but this is, we're going to have to
Charles Rudolph Walgreen was an American businessman who founded Walgreens. Now, let's see.
Chicago South Side.
No Jew. Okay, no. Actually, he died in Cuba and was born in Knoxville. That's fascinating.
They sold prescription whiskey when they opened. That was a big winner for their business. And then their next big hit was the malted milkshake.
I want a malted milkshake right now. So Walgreens is just a German name. Again, like Wahlberg, a German name. Wow, I didn't even... Heather, look at this. Wahlberg. Well, if anything else, this is good news because we are sharing with people... We're teaching people that not all Jewish-sounding names are Jewish.
So Walgreens has Nazi wallpaper and wrapping paper.
Swastika-themed wrapping paper. Yeah, it's perfect for your swastikas. When you're giving someone a swastika, they don't have swastika-appropriate wrapping.
What are you going to give your Hanukkah presents in? When you're wrapping your copy of Mein Kampf for your niece for Hanukkah, how could you convey that as a present?
Exactly. Reindeer? Reindeer don't work.
What's going to be appropriate? Because we're surrounded by Christmas. How are you going to find something that isn't just Christmas to wrap it in?
It's the thinking man's wrapping paper.
They've found their way out. So, but we covered last year a couple of other stories where Holocaust stuff showed up. One was in Walmart. It was Walmart. It was a poster in Walmart.
Photos, of the lovely Auschwitz greeting sign. It just works in any context.
You could buy a framed sign of Arbeit macht frei. And then also Zara, the Spanish clothing company, put out these T-shirts for kids that were striped, literally striped with a gold star. Looked just like the uniforms they made Jews wear in the concentration camps.
Adorable for kids.
Mm-hmm. So
babies look totally cute in them, though.
So, this week there was also a PR firm on Twitter that black...
Oh, wait, so what do we think? Good for the Jews or bad for the Jews? The wrapping paper.
Well, the wrapping paper, oh, come on. Really? It's even a question? The astonishing thing is that this went through how many people to get put out and nobody
I'm going to go for, you know what? I'm going to go for a curveball.
What's your curveball? I'm saying obviously bad for the Jews. You're saying?
I'm going to say good for the Jews.
How?
Because next time someone says we run everything.
Wallpaper.
Oh, yeah?
Wrapping paper.
We run everything? How come there's wrapping paper, which Heather keeps calling wallpaper because the Walgreens thing? How come there's wrapping paper? Literally, it's acceptable to make anti-Semitic wrapping paper. There, I think I just found the Jewish silver lining.
Not only to make...
the gold lining.
Not only to make anti-Semitic wrapping paper, but to try to sell it for Hanukkah. That's supposed to be their cultural diversity nod at Walgreens. We're giving you guys one thing for presents. Here it is.
There you go. If we ran the world, we would not be making swastika embossed wrapping paper. Aren't swastikas in the other direction, like an old Buddhist thing? Hindu or Buddhist or Native American, a lot of things.
Yeah, because that's had a much bigger cultural impact in North America in the 30s.
You look at that and you think of Buddhism.
Oh God, super creepy. I would like to have to see the thing is Mark Wahlberg. We have to see him, and he tells us, and we have to look at his face with "Here's the thing I did when I beat this guy up." But we don't ever get to see like the schmucks who were like, "This is great, no problem."
Oh, you mean the faceless
swastika promoters
behind the swastika embossment? I really want to use the word emboss.
I mean, it's making me think of this strange fruit PR story this week. So there's a firm in Austin that does PR, and it's run by a couple white women, and who evidently weren't familiar with the phrase or the song "Strange Fruit," written by a Jewish guy.
Well, not only written by a Jewish guy. Can I just say something?
Communist. When you have that tone of voice, he's got to be a communist.
You're right. You know who he was?
Because you're so bubbling up with pride.
I'm so bubbling up. They can't see it. Imagine me. I'm not grinning. I'm like, I have a glisten in my eye, right? A twinkle in my eye.
She's shopping.
This guy, the person who wrote the song "Strange Fruit," which was made famous by Billie Holiday and is about lynching, it was based on a poem by Abel Mirapol. Mm-hmm. Guess whose kids he adopted and raised?
The Rosenbergs.
Yes. Guess who I had as a counselor?
Mirapol.
Rachel Mirapol at Kinderland.
That was your counselor?
Yeah. The Mirapols sent their kids, Robert and Michael Mirapol, who run the Rosenberg Fund for Children, which is a great organization. I went to an event they had last year that Angela Davis was at. They sent their kids there. Ivy Mirapol, Rachel Mirapol. In fact, we should have them on.
You maybe should explain to people who the Rosenbergs were.
The Rosenbergs were executed by the United States. They were accused of being spies for the Soviet Union during the Cold War. It was under Eisenhower. They're considered, and they were political prisoners. He maybe was guilty of doing something that was much more low level, certainly not death penalty worthy. And they knew that the wife was innocent, and they tried to use her as a way to get him to flip, but he wouldn't, so they wound up executing both of them, leaving these two boys orphaned. And it was a huge moment in American history. And they were also Jewish. And I think that they actually killed them later to not interfere with Sabbath, which is like, wow, that's what mensches they are. Abel Mirapol is the guy. He was a public school teacher. He adopted the
So he wrote the poem Strange Fruit. Did he write the music as well?
No.
Who wrote the music?
Mm-mm. Not sure,
but it's Billie Holiday's signature song.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
and it's a song about lynching, and especially God knows in the wake of the Michael Brown and Eric Garner killings, people anyway sort of noticed. Someone noticed and let them know. And these women were pretty obtuse, and it took a while for them to get the picture of like, do you understand what the hell this means? You have access to the internet. Google it. So
they have a company called Strange Fruit.
Yeah, they had Strange Fruit PR. Not only that, their job was to position, and they're like, we think it means someone who's really special and stands out. And I'm like, what? Because you're trying to be like fruit, like who else gets called fruit? Right. Gay people, then. So anyway, I have no idea, but it just didn't seem like the PR savviest approach to things.
And now they changed their name to Perennial Public Relations. What's funny is that their names are Mary Mickle and Ali Slutsky.
Oh,
Heather, do we know?
She could be just
Pretty
Russian
sure
or Polish. Doesn't necessarily mean. I've known Slutskys who are not Jews.
Really?
Yeah.
Were they Slutskys, though?
Mm-hmm. I can't speak to that.
And I use that in a parent way.
Anyway, all this to say that it's like, how do you guys have no idea this crap happened? Like, you're just that out of touch that you have no idea. In this case, many people, enormous number, if you just put their name into Twitter, you'll see the amount of conversation that's going on. So they only had to read like 2 tweets before they should have gotten the picture. But same thing with the swastikas. Do people not know what a fucking swastika means?
They actually said apparently they knew about the song, but they thought enough time had passed that people would not associate it with their company. So.
It's just exquisite because they're in PR. It's kind of like the social media firm that Cosby's working with, saying, "Hey, everybody, make memes out of his face." Right.
Like, why not go with a name that doesn't also stand in for lynched black bodies?
I presume most of the time it's not someone going, "Wow, I really hate these people." I think most of the time it's, I just never considered that you were around. It's not even considering that somebody this would be incredibly offensive to might be your customer. That's really what it comes down to. I mean, this is the big thing that tech does all the time. They don't ever have women in billboards or ads unless they're incredibly sexualized. And what that says is you would never work in a company or buy anything from us. And if you did,
like Urban Outfitters.
This is what you would like. And of course it's not what you would like. It's just a way of ignoring you to me. I mean, this is the same thing, the rape jokes. It's a way of saying, bad rape jokes are a way of saying, I don't think any women would be in this audience or would ever have been raped. It's just a kind of cluelessness.
Or if they would, who cares? I don't think that
I don't even know if it goes. I'm going to give most people the benefit of the doubt and presume it's a level of just clueless indifference as opposed to, I'm not going to care. Jokes? With bad ones, with really bad rape.
Well, when you say, and just to clarify, bad ones are when the punchline is based on the rape victim or rape survivor as opposed to the rapist.
Or even the insanity of the act. I mean, just something that's punching up or looking at power that's really, I mean, it's not going to be funny if you're, I mean, on the one hand, if you've been raped and you deal with everything through humor, you could love a good rape joke.
Right.
I think Sarah Silverman's Aristocrats rape joke is an awesome joke.
George Carlin has a good rape joke.
I can't imagine George Carlin having a bad joke. I mean, I'm sure he had some, but I didn't hear him. His stuff was so good. So I just mean when, like, if the thing's going to be funny or if it's going to be appealing or whatever you're trying to come up with, it has to do with, well, what does it mean to someone else? So it's just kind of funny to be like, my job is to help position other people and the way they're understood. But let me tell you by my name that I'm clueless and don't pay attention to people. I mean, so I don't know. I'm going to assume these people don't know what a swastika is. I'm going to go with the most generous potential hearing.
Oh, come on. No way they don't know what it is. No way they don't know what it is. They just don't see it or they're like, whatever. There's no way. I think they probably didn't see it. Wait, you mean the people who made it or sold it?
The number of people to get something through Hallmark and sold and go. I mean, I met a bunch of people from Hallmark. I hosted a conference.
And they don't know what.
The remake conference a little while ago. There were about 12 people from Hallmark in the front row. It was all women.
And they don't know what a swastika is. That's impossible.
I can't imagine everyone in Hallmark's Gentile. I could imagine that.
Sure, but I mean, everyone knows. They just know it from the symbol, even if they don't know about.
But they don't know that it strikes terror in Jews, or is a symbol of, oh, this is a terrible thing to me. They just think, oh, those guys wear cool suits and they're in a movie.
Like, I actually see like the Star of David as like not as being less known. Like putting a star on someone's arm, I could see that mistake, like with Zara, more than the swastika.
Michael Jackson decided to have a red armband as his look for I don't know how long, and it looked kind of Nazi-esque, and he didn't seem to feel like that was going to be a problem. I mean, I think there's an assumption maybe there's so few of us it won't matter, or they just don't get it.
I don't know.
They don't get. It's about not getting how someone else will feel. I mean, I don't know. I grew up where I was the only Jew, and I had tons of interactions with people who'd be like, Merry Christmas. So I don't have Christmas. We'll have it. Wonderful Christmas. There's a kind of, I can't imagine you would see anything different than me. And I don't see anything so bad with the swastika, even though all of their grandparents were in the military fighting the Nazis. It's still,
that's the irony. Yeah. Anyway, well, all right. This was a good one. I think we learned a lot.
We learned that Nazi Mexicans hitting on you, not good for
Not going to work. Not going to work. Good for the Jews when they wear it on their sleeve, though. I will say that.
And
the swastika on their sleeve.
And we're going to give that same exact remark to Mark Wahlberg, letting us all know that he decided to go after.
Thanks for the heads up.
Try to almost kill someone because they were Vietnamese. Another big heads up. So that's good for the Jews. and Hanukkah wrapping paper full of swastikas that Hallmark's given to Walgreens. It's a heads up on Hallmark.
It is. It's a heads up. And then we have my curveball reading of it.
Okay, so listen, you guys, funny, not funny, let us know what you think. We're happy to be in an audio podcast, and you can subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher, or any of your happy, app that you use. And you can donate to support the podcast. If you want to see a backup in video, we're going to have to raise a certain amount of money to do that. Informed about that. It'll be, you can help us at morningjews with a Z or a Z.com, or Morning Jew Show on Twitter. Give us a shout out. Say hello.
See you next week. Shalom.
It's good to see you. See you later.
You too. Bye.
Bye.